Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. Today we're going to be looking at the USA versus Netherlands game that occurred last night, talking about a few highlights because I was watching, and let me tell you, one of the most fascinating, competitive, perfect, culminating events happened in this soccer game. I mean, we took down the Nazis, we took down the commies, and Lindsey Horan, all right, took down the Dutch kind of enough to just lead to a draw. But we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So we're going to watch about 3 minutes of these highlights, talk about the game a little bit, and then we'll look forward to the last two games in this group stage and talk about some bets we like as we move forward to the final games in this group. And with that, I learned something absolutely critical today. You cannot watch a YouTube video and comment through it, or you may get copyrighted. So I spent a lot of time doing that. Unfortunately, I had to go back and edit this video. So what I'm going to do is talk you through the highlight that I can't show you. If you want to check out the highlight, Fox Sports has a great video. First 4 minutes, it covers what we're going to talk about. So in the first half, US is playing against the wind, and in my opinion, they looked good and they were controlling a lot of the tempo. And I knew in the second half they were going to have an advantage with the wind at their back. So it was unfortunately 1-0 at half. The Netherlands scored one goal this game. They only had one shot on target, and it was the goal they scored. It was just kind of a miscommunication on defense. I didn't think much of it. So in the second half, Rose Lavelle comes in, and Lindsey Horan is driving, I guess you could say, pushing the pace, and her club teammate, actually, okay, Danielle Van de Donk comes in and just hip checks her. Doesn't get any of the ball until after she knocks Lindsey Horan down at the hip. They get into it, they get in each other's faces, they're talking, and Horan actually had to be subbed off on that play. So she goes off, and the ball goes out of bounds. USA throw in, they throw it in, Dutch kick it out the back line, so it is a US corner, which allows Lindsey Horan to be subbed back in. So they start kind of jawing at each other again, lining up for the set piece on the corner, and then the corner comes in, and Lindsey Horan comes up and knocks a header into the back of the net to tie it 1-1 in absolute phenomenal fashion, storybook writing type of a play here. And so, definitely something that I would check out if I was you, because it was an awesome thing to behold. And here's a still of that image of her scoring the goal that ended up tying it 1-1. So check out that video. It's a great play and something you definitely should be consuming, because it will be shown over and over again for years to come. Going forward, each team is going to play one more game. Netherlands is going to play Vietnam, and the United States is going to play Portugal. And these games are going to determine what happens going into the round of 16 or the knockout stage. So the U.S. can advance to the round of 16 with a win or a draw versus Portugal, which I think is well within the realm of possibilities. The other way they could advance to the round of 16 is if they do lose to Portugal and the Netherlands wins, but the United States maintains their goal differential, they will move on. Now, their goal differential right now is only 2, so with a loss, they're already going to lose 1 for the goal differential, and I think the Netherlands is going to be able to crush Vietnam. So I don't really see this as a reasonable possibility. I think the best possibility for them to advance would be a win or a draw versus Portugal. Now, in order to win Group E, which I think they would want to do just based on looking at the future games, they have a little bit of an easier walk to the finals if they were to win Group E rather than just advance as that second team. So 3 options here for winning Group E. If they beat Portugal and the Netherlands loses or draws to Vietnam, they will win Group E. Do I think this is going to happen? No, I think the Netherlands should handle Vietnam pretty easily. Now, the most reasonable way that I think they win Group E is to beat Portugal and maintain their goal differential advantage over the Netherlands. So again, right now they have a 2-goal differential, which means if they beat Portugal 3-0, all right, now their goal differential goes up to 6, and the Netherlands would have to overcome that, and they'd have to beat Vietnam something like 6-0. Now, the last way, again, I think is unreasonable, is if they draw against Portugal and the Netherlands loses or draws to Vietnam. But again, I think the Netherlands beating Vietnam is as sure as pudding pie on a Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen. So this bold one, I think, is the best possible way for the U.S. to win Group E. Now, looking forward to these games. It's not going to happen for another 4 days. 8-1 at 3 a.m. Now, I'm still trying to decide if I set that alarm and get up and watch, or I just go to sleep and hope for the best. I may get up and watch. This only happens a few times a year. So August 1st at 3 a.m. That's like a Monday, Tuesday gap. FanDuel does not have any of the lines listed right now. And DraftKings has some, but they don't have any player props. So ultimately, what I'm looking at right now are these 4 bets, and I'm going to give you some options, and you can kind of pick and choose what you may think is best. So the U.S. team total goals over 2.5 or over 3.5, I think, are pretty solid bets. In the first 2 games, the U.S. has pushed. They've gotten corners. They've gotten shots on target. They just have not found a way to put the ball in the back of the net consistently. I think Portugal is possibly their easiest matchup. Again, Vietnam was probably on paper their easiest matchup, but given the circumstance, given that they need to maintain goal differential, I think that the U.S. is going to look to score 4 goals to really feel safe. Now, Portugal has looked poor on offense, has not gotten many shots on target against Vietnam or against the Netherlands. And for that reason, I don't think they're going to be able to push the pace against the U.S. I mean, the Netherlands only got 1 shot on target, and it ended up scoring in the whole game. So I don't think Portugal even gets a shot on target, right? Vietnam did not get a shot on target. So I think the same thing for Portugal. I think a clean sheet for the U.S., barring any, crazy handball in the box or PK given up. I think a 0 showing for Portugal is pretty safe. So if these don't tempt you, I think these are also pretty good. Now, the U.S. could score 5 goals, and where these would cash, these wouldn't. But ultimately, I think a 3-0, 4-0 USA win on, Monday night, Tuesday morning is a good spot to bet. So this is what I'm going to be locking in. Again, I'm going to wait a little bit, see what lines FanDuel puts out, kind of shop around, which is what you have to do to get the best line. But this is what I have my eye on. So again, thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys soon enough.